I'm going to tell you about a specific incident, and I do remember it in detail. And yes, I was only a year old, but I remember it in detail because I believe in God, and I prayed to Him, and He helped me remember things that most people don't remember. But I want to tell you guys something, that when you tell your little children, or you say to people around your little children and your little babies, oh, they won't remember. They won't remember. Because you know what I remember? I remember people saying that around me when I was a little baby. Oh, she won't remember. She won't remember this. She won't remember this. Well, guess what I do? I remember it all. So when you're setting them up to not remember, it's we really, everybody needs to be careful how they use their words, because our words contain power, and we affect reality with our words because we're made in the image and likeness of the Most High Good God. Okay. So I remember my mother taking me up to the neighbor's house, because they were up a little hill, but very close, because the houses were really close together. This was like one of those neighborhoods where all the houses were built in like the 60s, and they're all that brick ranch style with a basement, and the rooms are all small and the ceilings are low. That's what these houses were like, with big yards, enormous backyards, and big front yards too, but slightly smaller front yards. But the houses were all like this. They're all the properties are kind of shaped like rectangles, And it was always beautiful there, I have to say, because there was, magnolia trees and dogwood and pines and just, sweet gum trees, mimosa, all the beautiful southeastern United States plants, camellia bushes, all of that, azaleas. I could go on, honeysuckle. I like plants. Okay, but so anyway, she took me to the neighbors, and we were in the kitchen. She was holding me, and she was talking to the wife. That woman was also a witch. They were all, like, her whole family. Even, the more distant relatives. And on that day, she had made sure to that I was going up there with a clean diaper. Like, she literally, my adopted mom, she literally, foster mom at that time, made sure I had a clean diaper right before we left. She's like, he's not going to have to change your diaper this time. And so they were standing in the kitchen, those tiny U-shaped kitchens. And the dude leans over, the evil man leans over and says, ooh, sniffs my booty, and like, oh yeah, I should change your baby for you. And she's like, no, she doesn't need that. I just changed her. And he's like, well, let me see. And he puts his finger down in the back of my diaper, which I didn't even need a diaper because I was already potty trained, but I didn't want my foster family to know that. I wanted them to think I was a helpless baby so they would love me. And so he puts his finger, and he's like, oh, she's wet. And I wasn't wet. And he was like pretending and lying the whole time. And then she was like, okay, I'll go take her back there. He's like, no, you talk to my wife, and you two enjoy your conversation. It's no problem. And acting like he's just doing her a savor, is just doing her such a big favor to take her baby and change the diaper. She's like, I can't believe she just went because I just changed her diaper. This is so weird. And he took me back to, they had a diaper changing table because they had a son who was the same age as me, only a month older. And it wasn't the first time he'd done it. I don't remember the first time he did it. I don't know if it was the second, third, or fourth, or fifth time, but I know he had done it before, and I don't remember the previous times. But that's why she was trying to make sure that she changed the diaper, because he had pulled the same trick before with, I'm going to change your baby diaper for you, acting like he was a hero. And on the diaper changing table, and I'm not going to get into details because I know there's a bunch of perverts out there, and I'm not going to give you a thrill, okay? But basically he did stuff, okay? that, very inappropriate stuff. And it hurt. And I remember at this point, I had already been baptized twice. And in my second baptism, and I'll tell you, this is an aside, but it's related. It's related, so just stick with me. Okay, so in my second baptism, I remember the pastor saying, there's only one name by which we can be saved, the name of Jesus. And in that moment, when I was trying to think of somebody to save me, because I knew I needed to be saved, and I remember thinking, what's his name again? I couldn't remember the name, but I remember the moment when the guy said that there was only one name by which we can be saved. And because I was in my mind praying and asking someone to save me, and it hurt so bad. It was very painful. And I knew that if I cried, he would put a pillow over my head. And I didn't want the pillow to go over my head. So I was trying so hard not to cry. And I was like, I can't cry because he'll put the pillow over my head. And it hurt so bad. And I was just like, who can save me? That name, give me that name. Give me that name of the only one by which we can be saved. And I heard Yeshua. Jesus. I heard both names, Yeshua and Jesus. And even though I wasn't crying, he put the pillow over my face anyway. And I knew, and I turned my head side to side, and he kept, and then the next thing I know, I'm waking up in a peaceful place, and I know that I'm sitting in the lap of God. And it was just like I just woke up. And he was holding me, and I was just like, I was happy. I just remember feeling happy and safe. I was so happy to be there and felt so safe. And then I tried to see him, but you know what he looked like? His arms were so long. His arms were so long, and his fingers were enormously long, like really, really long. It wasn't grotesque to me. I was a baby, but and they were like rays coming off of them, like light, and it reminded me of a tree. He reminded me of a tree. And when I saw God, I would thought of a tree. And his head was the same way. There was like rays coming up all around like a tree, like branches. And yeah. And then the next thing I know, I didn't want to go back, but the next thing I knew, we were outside the window of the nursery where the evil man was standing and over my body. And I was afraid. And I remember there was an angel. And there may have been two angels, because sometimes I feel the angel's on this side, and sometimes I feel he's on this side. And maybe he switched sides like this, or maybe there was two angels, okay? Or maybe he was just like all around me. But I remember there was an invisible angel with me, because I was talking with him. And I said, I'm not going back in there. I said, I'm not going back in there. He's like, he was trying to convince me to go back in there. And I didn't want to go back in my body. And I was a baby. And I said, the reason I don't want to go back in there, the most reason, is because he's going to snatch me when he sees me, because that's what he was after. The reason he would suffocate me with the pillows, because he was after my soul. He was after me. my spirit person, my real being, not the flesh suit, but he was after me, you know? And I mean, I wasn't the only one he was doing that to, unfortunately. But this is what the angel did. The angels made him, okay, this is what the angel did. The angel made him call out to my mother across the house. And he said, "Your baby's dead." He didn't say it like he was upset. He didn't say it like he was angry or crying, or just like he was telling her, like, the car arrived in the driveway, you know, pizza's here. It was like nothing, you know, but the angel made him say it. And because I don't think he was I think he was trying to figure out what to do, or I don't know. But I remember also that the world looked so dark compared to where I'd just been, even though I don't remember seeing light where I was. I don't remember seeing dark either, because I was just all, you know, the only light I saw was like the rays that were coming off of God. But it was like, yeah. So as soon as he said that, the angel's like, "Okay, now you can go back in." I'm like, I'm not gonna go back in until she comes in the room and I see what she really thinks about me and how she really feels about me. And I didn't say any of this in words. It was more like this feeling language that's of the spirit or of the soul, is a feeling language. And she came in the room and she looked shocked, and then she started crying, and she went and she picked up my body, my lifeless body, and she hugged me weeping. And then I said, "Okay, I'll go back." She knew I was dead. She knew I was dead. And so then she just said, "I need to go home." And she just, boom, she just left. And the angels helped. The angels helped her get out of there. And when we got back to our house, I remember she was just staring at me. I had more of her attention than I'd ever had. And she set me down on the floor. And I think she got me my baby doll or something. Or maybe I asked her for it, or maybe it was already there. I don't know. But I had the baby doll. And she was staring at me. She was just, I guess she was just like kind of in shock, because I had just been dead and I was alive. And so I started showing her what he had done to me on the doll. And the angel was telling me what to do. It was telling me to show her. And so I started poking the baby in the baby dolls. I started poking the baby doll in that region of the body. And then I made sounds like the baby was crying, but internally, like just this wah, wah. I hope she understood it was like the baby doll was upset inside, but wouldn't express it outside. And then I didn't have a pillow nearby, so I just put my hands over the baby's face and started crushing down on the baby. And I saw the look on my mother's face, like she was just like horrified. I don't even know if I'm doing the face right, but she was just like, you know, just like, that's what happened. Like, I was showing her what happened. She was horrified. And then the phone rang, and she goes, "Saved by the bell." And that's just something that they used to say back then. And something evil, because you know that Bel is an evil idol in the Bible. And, you know, anyway, the phone rang. She said, Saved by the Bell. I don't know who it was on the phone. She seemed relieved to not have to think about what she just witnessed. The whole thing. She didn't want to think about it. But I do remember she probably told my adopted dad. And for a while, they avoided the neighbors for a while. And I think I was protected for a while. I'm going to talk about more in part 2.